Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning, Naps family. Wherever you are listening, welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I'm your host, Robert Wakefield, president of Branch 32. That's right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a studio audience of 4. No, I don't. That's totally false. All right, go ahead and get that cup of Joe ready. We're ready to pour that first cup. This Christmas, give your budget a break with a little help from the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. We're offering Christmas loans at just 12% APR. You can borrow up to $1,200 for 12 months. And here's the best part. No payments for 60 days. That's right. Shop now, pay later, and enjoy the season without the stress. Whether it's gifts, travel, or holiday cheer, we've got you covered. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup this morning, let's settle in with that cup of Joe, and let's talk about something that we all need right now, especially with the Christmas rush breathing down our necks. Today, I'm going to be kicking off a series that I like to call Don't Quit. And it's very similar to the series that I did last Christmas period, rush time. It was starting in episode 7. I called it Taking Care of Yourself. And Taking Care of Yourself in episode 7 has been listened by more of you than any episode I've ever done. It's got 163 downloads. It's important to remember to take care of yourself during this time. And episodes 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, they all dealt with taking care of yourself. But this series this year, I'm going to call Don't Quit. And the first message that I want to give you is pretty simple. And today we're going to talk about don't quit on yourself. Now, I know how it feels this time of year. It's not a fun time. You've got packages stacked to the ceiling. The phones are ringing off the hook. Schedules are stretched about as tight as they can be. And all of us as EAS employees, we're carrying the weight of the holiday season. There's just no doubt about that. And sometimes in the middle of all that, we forget the most important person in the equation. And that's what the Taking Care of Yourself series was all about. We forget to take care of ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm talking about remembering the one thing that we can't get away from, and that we're all human. We have limits. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then you can't take care of your employees, you cannot take care of your customers, and you cannot take care of the mission of the United States Postal Service. And that reminds me of a story years ago. It was one of those brutal holiday seasons like they all are. And I heard about a supervisor who pushed himself so hard that he ended up in the ER with exhaustion. The story goes that he thought he was being tough, and he thought he was showing leadership by never stopping, by working off the clock, by doing things up and above, his job demanded, and working 12, 14 hours every day. Well, he ended up being in the ER. And he thought he was being a leader by not stopping, but what happened? He ended up, his whole office had to scramble without him. That drops morale. And he missed Christmas with his family. He was at the ER. Now, that's not strength. Plain and simple, it's just not. It's burnout. And, burnout doesn't help anyone. And the lesson here is don't quit on yourself. Simply pace yourself and protect your energy. So how do you do that in the middle of all this chaos? I read a few things that you could do, some simple things that you can do to help this. And the first one is take your breaks. Yeah, take your breaks. Take your lunch break. You know how I have preached to Branch 32 and everybody that I talk to, take your lunch break. You're not getting paid. And I know sometimes it feels impossible, but even 10 minutes to step outside, to breathe, and to reset, that can change your whole day. It's just amazing what a break from all the chaos can do in the middle of the day. The next thing that I read that's a great tip is to hydrate. Coffee's great. I'm drinking mine right now. But it's water, of course, that keeps your body running. And so don't underestimate that. Be sure you are well hydrated. And the third thing that I read was sleep when you can. It may not be 8 hours every night, but don't sacrifice rest completely. Your brain needs rest, and your body needs rest. And one of the practical things I read that I hadn't thought of is that laugh. I mean, seriously, find something funny, share a joke with your employees, lighten the mood. Laughter is fuel, is what this particular thing said. Now, these aren't luxuries. They're survival tools, and they remind you that you matter. And that's what we all want to talk about, how much you matter to the U.S. Postal Service. So here's the thing. The rush is going to end. The packages are going to get delivered. The phones will quiet down. But your health and your sanity and your spirit, that's what lasts. And you don't want to sacrifice long-term well-being for this short-term pressure. Now, this is going to air on December 6th. So we've only got a few more weeks, and the Christmas rush will be over. So when you take care of yourself, you're showing your employees how to do the same. What you're doing is you're modeling resilience. And that's what gets us through this crazy time of year. So here's what I want to leave with you today. As you sip your cup of joe and you gear up for another long week, remember this. Don't quit on yourself. You're stronger than you think, but you're also human, and that's okay. Just take care of yourself like I talked about in episode 7. And if you want to go back and listen to that, it's available for you right now wherever you get your podcasts. But by taking care of yourself, because the Postal Service needs you, your employees need you, most importantly, your family needs you too. This is the first step of our Don't Quit series. And next week, I'm going to talk about don't quit on your employees. But for right now, I want you to take a deep breath, take that break, and keep moving forward. And remember, keep your heart steady, keep your head up, and remember, don't quit. Don't quit on yourself or your team or on the mission. And that's going to wrap it up for the first cup. And let's go ahead and pour that second cup. This holiday season, the Nashville Post Office Credit Union wishes you joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate this special time of year, we're grateful for your trust and your membership. May your days be merry and bright, and your new year filled with success and happiness. From all of us at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And for our second cup today, I always enjoy, on the first Saturday of the month during the second cup portion of our show, I always like to point out the obscure holidays for the month of December. And so I'm going to do one today. We all know what the big holidays are. We know that it's Christmas, and you have Hanukkah, and you have, I think what it was, Kwanzaa. You have that. You have a bunch of holidays in December. We have National Pearl Harbor Day on December the 7th. So that's always a big day. But today is December the 6th, and I wanted to share with you an obscure holiday that you may not be aware of, because I sure wasn't until I looked it up on the internet. And you know, everything on the internet is true. So just get ready. Today, December 6th, is National Microwave Oven Day. That's right. It's National Microwave Oven Day, and it honors the one appliance that changed how we use the kitchen. Now, when I was looking this up, it talks about it was an accident that American engineer Percy Spencer had discovered a way to heat food safely, and it was using microwaves. What he was doing, he was working with active radar back in 1945, which is amazing. It was 1945. I had no idea. And he noticed a melting chocolate bar in his pocket. The high-powered microwave, it says here, microwave beams created a heating effect ideal for cooking. So he deliberately tried to cook popcorn in microwaves. And then the next thing he tried was an egg. Well, the popcorn did great. The egg exploded in his fellow engineer's face. Here's egg on your face on that one. But you know, you can cook eggs in the microwave, as you well know. You just can't cook them in their shells. But anyway, Spencer worked for a company called Raytheon, and they continued experimenting and doing some different kind of methods of heating food safely with microwaves. And they actually applied for a patent on Spencer's microwave process on October 8th, 1945. And then in 1947, Raytheon built the first commercially available microwave oven. It was called, and you might remember this, a radar range. Here's an interesting stat for you. Almost 90% of all the homes in the United States have a microwave oven in them. Let me know if you don't have a microwave oven. I'm sure that's going to be a very small number. But, you know, the microwave, it does a lot of great things. It makes great bacon. It makes great popcorn. It does all sorts of things for us. Let's see. What else does it say here that would be semi-interesting? Can you cook a whole egg? No, you cannot. Did Percy Spencer patent microwave technology? Yes, he did with Raytheon. So I'm sure they made lots of money on that. So anyway, Branch 32, I want you to go out and celebrate National Microwave Oven Day by having yourself a microwave popcorn sometime this afternoon. And if you decided to have some popcorn this afternoon cooked in your microwave, please let me know in the comments. You can do that anywhere you get this podcast. You can send me an email. You can even send me a message on our website that you enjoyed popcorn today for National Microwave Popcorn Day. Oh, my goodness. So that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Now, remember, we need you to share this podcast with all your EAS friends. We need to share it with the NAPS branches. If you're in a NAPS branch, you need to share this podcast with your branch. That's the only way we're going to grow this thing. And I really do appreciate you listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupOfJoe@gmail.com.